from the meeting heading, so we said do not attend, so that we wouldn't be accused of having an illegal meeting.
Okay.
Be a lot easier with 5 board members. You can have.
Come sit down over here. Go ahead, take the seat at the head of the
Communication is
table.
key.
Fine. Sit right over there. Go ahead.
Tell you, with 3, there is 0 communication.
All right.
You got me.
It's
So
hard,
this
dude.
is pretty, it's simple. Right? We're gonna start off with Sadie, and she's gonna start off with 4130 executive.
Do we have to have a motion to open a public hearing?
No.
No?
He
I
called the public hearing.
I called it to order already.
Well, you have.
No, it's okay.
My turn.
Okay, so total, executive total, 41, line 4130, is 263, 210 and 52 cents. Fines 41, starting with 4140, town clerk tax collector total 194, $804.03. Fines starting with 4150, financial administration, 219,881.90. 4152, assessing 126,991.42. 4153, legal, 141,883. And 4155, personnel administration, $2,600. Any questions?
No,
I have planning board too.
no,
Oh,
you're good, Sadie.
okay.
Jacob, public comment.
Any?
I would have loved to have seen a column to the left of the 2026 proposed as what the 2025 number was.
I was gonna say, grab a budget from the back, Sally's with her, spot it right there.
Yeah, you can go find it, but on this sheet, it would have been nice in the column, that same organization. All right, keep going.
Mr. Collins.
I'd expect you to get right after that, Carrie. So, 4191, planning board total is $11,766.53 with an estimated revenue of $1,430. Line 4194, government building total is a total of $190,716.58. Our cemetery total, $95,504.68 with an estimated revenue of $22,717. Our other insurance total, $5,164.40. Our contingency fund, $50,000. Our general government total, $47,801.70. And our police total is $1,343,489.20 with an estimated revenue of $118,403.
Questions?
Does someone online have their hand up or is that us?
No, that's us.
Okay, I just want to make sure no one out there had a
Yeah,
question.
there's actually nobody online.
I didn't think so, but it was.
Go fast. We can get done before anybody shows up. No more questions, please. We got.
Typically kind of in opposition to a public hearing.
Oh, we would love to have more people, but hey, it's what it is. Brian?
Okay. Line 4215, contracted ambulance total is $150,000. Line 4220, fire total, $375,279.45. And the expected revenue is, or estimated revenue is $58,213. Line 4240, building inspection total is $26,922.11. And the estimated revenue will be $30,000. Line 4290, emergency management total is $117,022.12. And line 4299, the mechanic total is $159,620.41.
Questions? Thank you. John?
Highway administration total is 0 at 4311. 4312 is highway total, $1,614,563.50. Revenue of $132,318. 43 13 bridge total is 0. 43 16 street lighting total is $20,000. Solid waste collection total, 175 439.86, with revenue of 41 375. Solid waste disposal total, 222 461.16. That's it.
Any questions? Bill?
Okay, line 4413, Health Administration, total is $13,329.70. Line 4414, Veterinary Services, $2,000 even. Line 4415, Other Health, $200 even. Line 4441, Welfare Administration, total is $43,678.55. And line 4445, vendor payments total is $39,950.
Questions? Yeah. Sal, say something. All right. So, Parks and Rec, 4520, $17,033.25. 4581.
4551.
Hang on a minute. 4581, Cultural and Recreation, 2,000. 4583, Patriotic, 500. 4611, Conservation Administration, $1. 4711, Debt Service for $186,110.46. And we run out of things. All right, so we have some, this is where it gets a little, we don't have any more on our little sheet here other than library. I don't know where we had library, that was under funds for Michael, right?
Yes.
Okay. There were some other things that are missing here. There's Economic Development Committee, 4659, that's 3,500. That's the end of that.
And library. Yeah.
Yeah, we might as well finish. Why don't we just do library and then we can be done with this sheet? Okay, go ahead, Michael.
On
Library.
line 4551, library fund is $213,731.82.
Want to do the other ones that you've got there?
Sure.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so line item 4326 is sewage collection and disposal at $140,610.44, and 4327 sewage collection and disposal is $171,110.43. The total for those two is $311,720.80.
What are we looking at here?
Well,
I have,
I have to get them from here.
So it's not on this sheet, it's on,
the sewage totals on the bottom,
right. I'm sorry,
but
Michael.
they don't match, which I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm not reflecting what you see.
I just want to make sure.
No, we
We
have a dispute here. Not a dispute.
No, there's a conflict.
Anybody else
Two
need
numbers, that's all. So I just want to make sure we pick the right one.
I had to add the two together myself. I didn't see they added up, but 4326 and 4327.
Well, I was just going by, the sewage collection one is the one I think, that's where the variance.
So,
All right,
Hang on, I just gave a 1/6, he's gonna listen.
hang on a minute.
Anybody else need a budget?
This is revenue.
All right, so we're dealing with funds now. We have, we've already done library. We have sewage, 4326. What number do we have there?
One Carrie Ann's pulling up is the one that's on the bottom of the sheet of 171
Right.
Okay,
for the sewage, and then 210, 750 for the water.
Wait, page,
170. Well, sewage is 140 and 171.
on page 22 is the total for the whole sewage fund, because it's broken out into two sections. It's the 171, 110.
The total,
Oh,
okay,
I apologize, yes.
Carrie Ann and Mike, let's get this straight.
Yeah, the total sewer departments, just
I double counted. It's 140, 610, 90, 44, and then the 30,000. 30,500 for a total of 171, 110.
Right, so is there one number, one number, line number 4326, or are there two 4326 and 4327?
4326 and 4327.
And that adds up to a total of 171.
71, 110, 43.
So on our little sheet, on this sheet here, we want to say 4326 and 4327 is $171,110.43.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Just so you know, that's the number that's reflected in the warrant article
I
as well.
understand. That's why we want to make sure we get it straight.
All right, so the end result was that 171, 110, 43 is a combination of two lines.
That's
Okay,
correct.
Thank you. Yep.
And then, water treatment is not, it's Sal. So let's make sure we go through water and that kind of stuff. So we have, 4331 and 4332. Okay, which both together add up to, I'm assuming, 4335. Is that correct?
I think water had a little tiny one. There was 331, 4332, and 4335. That
Right.
adds up to that total,
All three of those add up to
210.
And the individual 4331 is? What's the value?
4331 is 122,500.31,
Okay, and 4332
2,000 even.
and 4335,
86,250.
a grand total of 210, $750.29.
Do pennies matter?
No, we put it to the VRA with no sense.
I don't make them anymore.
Because if two pennies different.
I know they do. There's a couple where there's 1
Well,
cent
here
there,
it's 31
there's a
cents.
couple of them. Right? Okay,
If somebody just came on.
so that's water, alright? Okay. I assume that, ambulance total of 4215 is CMS bottom line. 944,043.45. With a revenue of 688,564. Any questions on any of those now? We think we finally got that straightened out? Everybody? Okay, next would be, would you please put up 4721 on our screen there? Monica?
What page is it?
I don't know. Long-term bonds interest. There it is. There you go. You had it back there. 47. Okay. Interest on, 4721, interest long-term bonds, $117,110.46.
Page is that?
18.
18.
And then 4723, interest on tax and revenue anticipation notes, $15,000.
Now,
Yes, sir.
my sheet is full. Where are you finding this?
On the actual budget.
On the
Oh,
actual
so,
budget.
so we transitioned from this to here to do
Yeah,
our
we didn't get
checklist?
everything on here.
Okay, understood. I
No, no,
don't
that's
right, I'm
need
sorry.
a piece of paper. Yep.
And we do have one person online, just let you know.
Monica, I
Oh,
touched
well,
your touch screen. What do I do to
Welcome
get it up?
online. What's the person?
Nancy Berkman?
Should be okay.
Oh, it's going away.
Oh, Nancy.
Oh, there's
Hi,
Nancy. We're on page 8.
Thank you.
Got all those. Everything is done now other than, Mr. Sousa's items.
Yes, sir. 4,900 warrant articles, $962,003.00.
I can do that, Bob.
I got skill.
I got skills. I got skills.
Unique set of skills. Yeah.
He said Skittles, didn't he?
Skittles? Guys got cupcakes done.
I can work through most of this shit. but that was-
Come on.
Come on.
All right, go ahead, Bob.
I did,
You finished?
I did. It was very good.
You got it all,
I had the hardest one.
He had a drum roll.
you got it all rolled up in one? That's very good. All right. So
But,
that's what's known as
Carrie
bottom
and-
line.
Carrie and I went back and forth and she schooled me on how it really works and it was easy.
It's good to have Carrie in.
I'm I'm saying.
All right, the only other thing was, did we want to do revenues or not? I don't. We have, the revenues we have are on that big sheet, 2,305,426 from departments. The balance will be, raised through tax appropriations. Roughly $4 million plus something eventually when we figure it out. Do we know a number there, Carrie Ann, yet?
70,000, 470. Give or take.
You can use it.
Sure.
Plus
That-
warrant articles.
Sounds like we just did revenues out.
That's what it was, I'm just.
There's some coming in, so that's good.
Yeah, we got something.
We got something coming. Yeah.
Got it.
So if all the warrant articles pass, the estimated taxes to be raised would be 5,033,334.67.
And that would be based on a valuation yet to be determined, is that correct?
I mean, we know what the current one is, but it'll be a revision.
That's what I'm saying, there will be a revised.
Yeah, it's estimated at this point.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
That's why it's 5
I was
million.
giving to, I said 5 million dollars before she read it.
And that's if all warrant articles pass.
Correct.
All right. Any questions on any of that? Yes, sir.
Just that point, in the past, that number, the 5 million, I remember that we would actually publish that. It would, in other words, you know, how like each warrant article says this could raise taxes by 3 cents on 1,000.
Yeah, we have to generate the MS 737.
Okay.
And then the form that the budget committee comes in and signs, and then we post the warrant.
Yeah, this will translate to a $400 increase on a median price home or something like
Right, so for all of us new folks, what happens is we go through the deliberative session, we finalize, everything gets finalized, we vote on all the warrant articles. At that point in time, everything now starts, everything's cast in concrete. She generates that MS, whatever the heck it is, form. And then the budget committee needs to come in and sign off on it. So she'll notify you, or somebody will notify you that you have to show up and sign. We don't need everybody to sign on that. We need just, how many to?
The majority, right?
Just a majority.
Yeah, you need a majority, but,
So at some point in time, you're gonna get a call that
but
says,
given, you know, and this is just a general conversation, but given the work that you guys put in and we put this forth, I mean, I would recommend everybody sign the actual MS 37. This is what the committee came with, so it just, it makes sense.
so we're all, do you have everything you need from the budget committee? You have everything you need from the budget committee?
What is the total proposed budget? Just so I can write it down here, so I'm not digging through and coming up with the wrong one.
You
Total,
want general fund with warrant articles?
yes, please. Yeah,
Well, we want general fund and then warrant articles.
7.7 million.
please,
The
yes.
total general fund is 6,376,757.35.
It's on the sheet there.
Okay, okay.
The last two
Warrants
numbers,
are,
last two numbers in the chart.
Then warrants are right here, 96203.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, Carrie Ann, just for curiosity, do we have an idea of what we pulled in interest from the accounts that we combined a few years ago, last year, for
That'll
2025?
be on the revenue budget actual. Let me pull it up.
Thank you.
Whatever the number is, it goes by the sheet.
oh, that's part of, that depends on what the balance is.
Our interest on investments for 2025 is currently at 100,098.
And that's from the accounts that we combined a few years ago? Okay, thank you.
And then we estimated 80,000 just because of how the interest rates are going down.
Sure, for this year. Yep, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, gang.
Other things people need. Need
Need dinner.
dinner?
Need that cupcake.
Claude has a question.
Split it.
Claude?
Well, I was kind of waiting for the appropriate time. I have several questions,
Okay, go ahead.
but I didn't know, I didn't want to interrupt proceedings as you were going through the list and whatever.
Please.
All right, I'd like to start at the summary level. The operations budget of 6,376,000. I do not know what that was last year. I cannot find it on this package of budget detail. There's a lot of detail here, but I'd like to know what that number was, operations budget last year. That's question number one.
Well, let's get that answered.
6,500,000 and something thousand instead of 300.
It was? I see, there's nothing evident here in all these materials
That's right, right?
that
there.
shows that.
Hang on, carry on.
It was at 25 each one,
I-
but
I
the
believe it went down.
2025 budgeted was 6,162,199.46.
Before the warrant article.
I know, and that, this doesn't come warrant, it's 2,162,000 and change, right? That was the budget. Okay, so the budget in grand total has, if I'm not mistaken, then gone up about $250,000.
214,557.
Good,
Yeah.
exactly, good, thank you. Well, that's big, that's good, that's huge. My next question is about numbers at the bottom of the page. Let's take water and sewer together for a second. As a citizen of this town, I've been used to hearing over 10 years that water and sewer is paid for by user fees. What I see here in four numbers at the bottom of this page, putting water and sewer all together, looking at the proposed budget and the proposed revenue, estimated revenue, it looks like we're expecting to lose about, forgive me for not having a calculator, but pretty close to $170,000 this year. Am I right in that observation? If so, why is it so, that's a big chunk compared to these numbers.
So Claude, what you're saying is you're seeing from the water and sewer fees, we're gonna be reduced by about 170,000 from last year?
Yeah, no.
I see, no, not from last year. What if I could clarify that, what I'm saying is, let's look at the sewage collection line first. Budget of 171,000, estimated revenues of 76. That's almost $100,000 in the hole for the coming year, nothing to do with last year. So that line's $100,000 in the hole. The next line, water treatment, is $90,000 in the hole for the coming year. I'm asking, why is that so bad? What's being, is that really true? Where's money gonna come from?
All right, we'll get you, they're formulating an answer for you in as you speak. Did you use actuals?
Yeah, you see actuals.
The reality is because the problems we've had with the water system billing and Carrie Ann used actuals on the conservative side, we are now getting caught up. We are still billing third quarter right now. So when you look at actuals, we're always working a little bit under. We also lost septage because we were told we weren't supposed to be doing that anymore from the state. And that's about $30,000 in revenue. But we are going to be revisiting rates this spring because we are below the state's minimum for water and sewer rates. And we have to raise the rates and change the calculations just to get to the minimum the state allows. So we're going to see, this will not be to that extent. The issue is we only have billed 3 quarters in 2025 so far, and we're off a quarter. And looking at actuals, she transferred the actuals over. But this fund will be close to breaking even when we're done.
Well, I hear you say that, but that's not what the numbers say. The
Okay,
numbers
but
don't
remember
say we're
that
gonna break
it's an
even.
enterprise fund and it doesn't, and the fact is the revenue, she's just using what we've collected to date to look at the numbers.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we will have to be making that up.
But the bottom line is you're expecting higher revenue than shown
That is
on their
correct.
sheets.
Yes,
And you're expecting the expenses to be about the same.
yes.
So why shouldn't we revise the revenue? to meet
Yeah, why shouldn't you show a revised estimate with the rationale behind it, of course?
No, we can do that. We can do that at your recommendation and make that change in the
Yeah,
revenue.
Budget committee recommends.
But the revenue, and we will make that change, but it doesn't show in what we're doing with the voters. This is, you know what I mean? It's an issue that the voters approve the expense budget. Is what they're approving. And the revenue is our operations, just so we can estimate taxes. You know, that's kind of the goal there.
The
So,
budget committee doesn't actually have responsibility for the revenue.
Right. Understood.
Or general, that lady over there has the select board.
It's not just that.
Select board's got the responsibility.
Select board.
So how do? That's a good catch. So, I mean, I trust the fact that you guys are telling me by the end of the day, all of it's gonna be there and it's counting, but if we don't know for sure that that's gonna cover it all, should we put on the warrant that no additional taxation and it should be all covered by water sewer users if we don't know for sure? Because if you say that,
they're
and then
required,
Wesley Manser or someone finds out that it's not, rightly so, and I mention him because he specifically
Yeah.
mentions the water and sewer department a lot. Doesn't feel like he should pay any of that.
well, and
Right.
that is accurate. And the reason it doesn't affect taxes, let's assume you're $50,000 short.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
For sake of argument, and at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
That will create a $50,000 due from the water department or the sewer department to this town. The town will have it as a receivable and they have to pay it back as part of this, and we're gonna have to come up with a way. So if that did happen this year, next year on the warrant, we would have to either ask the voters to forgive that, or we have to figure out how we're gonna collect it. Okay, so the reality is, and that's why we haven't worked real hard on the calculations related to the new things and really haven't paid a lot of attention to, other than, you know, we're trying to get the expense budget in for the water and sewer. But at the end of the day, we have to, the water and sewer users have to pay for operations.
I'm trying to be sympathetic to what you walked into.
Right.
And trying to understand that there's a process to get out of it.
Yes, exactly.
Dude, you had a full head of hair when we hired you, Chad.
And actually, they're starting to take skin off, so it's.
Mine did, dude, right? All right, thank you.
I think there's always been some type of shortfall, and it has come from the general fund budget in the past.
And that has not been told to the taxpayers. These are the things that we have to evaluate.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And I didn't want to get into a ton of a conversation about it because once we finish this phase, we now immediately have to start working on the water and sewer rates, because we're gonna have to have a hearing sometime in March or April, so that we can start on July 1st with new rates. So that's all part of this process.
Okay,
And
this is kind of what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I know that money's been coming from other places, so somebody's got to tell us sometime.
Well,
Right.
it's what's known as an undisclosed liability.
Yeah, I guess so.
And
So, yeah.
the issue
Yeah.
became when,
I call it thieving my taxes myself.
well, the issue was, it was being covered by COVID money. When we were getting our COVID payments, it was all put into the water department, and nobody knew that we were draining, but we were not allowed to do that because it was money that came to the town. You can't put it in a separate enterprise fund without voter approval.
Sure.
Just like anything else, it's like going into a reserve fund. So we
Right.
had to when we pulled that money back out, it exposed this issue.
Sure, understood.
So my comment as general public here is, we've been hearing for 6 months that the water and sewer rates are below state minimums.
Yep.
They need to be updated. And now I'm hearing that in a few months, we'll have a hearing, and in a few months after that, maybe something will change. I'm getting frustrated. Why didn't they change 6 months ago? It was evident that we weren't covering our costs.
But I think that's a question for the select.
No,
Okay,
it's too,
agreed. Okay, I hear you.
and the issue is with the amount of changes that have been going on in the water sewer department with our problems with the software and the billing and everything else. We've been focused on that. And it's a 2 month process to change rates.
I know. Should have
And then-
started 6 months ago, but
Well,
I followed it. That's a select board question. I agree.
It's a
Can
select
we
board question.
move on?
Yes, can we please move on?
Yeah, let's move
Thank
on.
you,
I have
John.
another question.
Go ahead.
Ambulance total. There's over $250,000 loss shown there. Expenses of $944,000, estimated revenue of $688. That's more than $250,000 in the hole. What's going on there?
Is that service to community?
Not a money-making.
It's not a, that's not a revenue making.
And I know it's not money making, but it's not supposed to cost us $250,000 over and above the budget line item that's in the budget.
Well, we're working on these issues. I mean, one example I could give is the issue we're having with Grafton, where we're covering 60-something calls in Grafton. It's like $120,000 worth of costs, and we're getting no revenue from it. So we are working with Grafton right now to come up with a plan that we're gonna start recapturing some of that revenue. And we've also just, in the last 2 months, raised our rates twice to meet the new requirements that the state has put forth that we can bill to like Medicare and Medicaid and all those. We were running it like way below average rates. They just got raised in the last 2 months. So all of that is happening, but we don't know how that's gonna manifest itself in, so we're not using that number yet.
The Grafton thing, once again, that's something we've been hearing for at least 6 months, and we were getting nothing from Grafton, and we're working on it.
Well, we
We're
have
still getting nothing from
Yes,
Grafton, right?
we sent a letter in December and told them they had to start paying as of January 1st. It's been going on for years and years.
Been going on
but the
for years,
process-
right.
And this has been correspondence and meetings back and forth for the last few months, trying to figure this out while they're going through their budget process. So we will be, the Grafton has requested a joint select board meeting so we can resolve the issue.
So where's the money coming from? Is it coming from the taxpayers, from the general fund? To
Which
cover the
one?
difference?
Well, we have 150,000 in the budget.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
cover some of that shortfall. Claude, that's what we.
No, that would be the baseline of.
No, it's not,
No,
no, it's not in the.
would it cover some of this
Where's
$250,000? That doesn't seem that
I
way.
think he's looking at that.
I didn't see that.
There is a line item of $50,000, right, Chris?
All the way to the bottom.
All the way.
Which I expected. I guess I didn't expect this deficit between, the proposed, expenses and revenue. I mean, the 150 would be what we would expect to contribute to that enterprise fund. And it
Which
should
would
be
add-
operating somewhere near break
Am I
even.
correct, Carrie Ann, in saying that the 150 is in addition to the number that you have as the revenue item?
No, it's included, you
It
can
is.
see that in your revenue line on page
Hmm.
7, the funds from. funds.
And I will tell you
So
that
part of the 688 is the 150 that we're kicking in?
Yeah. That's what I thought.
but the thing you want to keep in mind is, we went through a transition this summer with billing companies and things like that. This is an absolute worst case scenario, but we've been collecting for the last couple of months above, at a level that will hopefully make us break even. But again, this is the worst case scenario. And we expect, and based on Chris, our new fire chief, we expect to do much better than this, both on the expense side and the revenue side. But this is not affecting your tax rate. This is not voter tax rate issue. It's just.
Well, it would be if the money to make up the difference comes out of the general fund.
But it will.
Sooner or later, we'll judge the taxpayer.
It will be a loan.
Carrie Ann?
So just in December, they got the highest amount of insurance payments out of all the months, and it was 50,000. So if we can hold that even, it would be 600,000 in insurance money coming in. But that's always variable, and that would at least give another 150,000 to the bottom line there.
What I hear you saying is maybe the estimate for revenue on that line possibly should be increased as well, just like previous discussion about water and sewer. But that's not for me to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that would have no impact on the budget.
On the budget, the general budget, I understand. Okay. So I'm happy to move on and talk about the general budget. I have
Thank you.
A couple of questions there.
Sure.
I surfaced an issue. I hope the select board and budget committee will deal with those issues. On the general budget, I looked at all these line items, and again, I would request for the future, if anything like this gets made again, that there be a column showing the previous year, whether it be the actual or the budget, so that a taxpayer like me could look down the sheet, and see, oh, the planning board went from this number to this number, or the building inspector went from here to here. I went looking, I'm sorry, I had the budget sheet. And I know, but my point here is, I walk into a meeting, there's 40 numbers on this page. It took me 5 minutes to find one of them, the police department number. I had to go dig through and dig into. So let me, if you don't mind,
Wasn't a sheet. for
I'd like to use the police one as an example, because it's one of the bigger numbers on the sheet. The police total on this summary sheet,
What number is it?
coming year, 4210. Police total for the coming year is 1,343,489 to Jake. Okay? I found that in the detail sheet. And I found that number, sure enough. There it is, exactly that number. And then I found what the actual was for last year. What I find on that line item is over a $200,000 increase. Had that number been on this sheet, that would have been evident immediately. Not just that number, but again, that's an example. I can't do the whole sheet sitting here tonight, but I took the one line.
I'm sorry that I
Yeah.
believe that was a worksheet for a committee,
I agree.
and it was erroneously shared with you.
Oh, okay. Something we shared with the public showing last year and this year.
This is a sheet for the public hearing,
Okay.
and this
I
sheet
stand
should have
corrected.
had the actual from last year.
I yield, I
It's a
stand
very
corrected.
valid point.
It
I
should.
yield, I stand corrected.
That's my only point. We should,
I mean, to be fair, this was just something that Carrie Ann volunteered to make our job easier to read it. So it wasn't like, oh, we think about this and propose
agreed,
it. And,
but it's not available to the public.
That's good.
you know, it was just
All right,
a
so that was
nice
my comment.
gesture that Carrie Ann offered to do. And I would say, don't do it next year, Carrie Ann.
So,
If I could just.
Make us read it off.
So for the public, I would request a summary sheet for next year that shows the previous year and the new year, side by side, no matter what. I think that would be an important thing. How else is the public gonna look at a budget like this? Instead of going through 30 or 40 pages of detail, you just can't. All right, let me see, I think I have one other question. So according to Dan, from what I heard, I'm glad to hear that the grand total at the bottom line, which again, I couldn't say, it might be similar or less than last year. That's good news. I appreciate the hard work. I'm a little bit surprised because I'm aware of a few departments where there's some major increases in cost being proposed. One is police department. I understand we're expecting to hire an additional police officer, number 7. Along with all this, the salary and benefits and equipment that goes with an officer and one more cruiser and its equipment, all that stuff adds up to a lot of money, right?
Sure.
So there's a additional police, and for a town whose population has not changed essentially in 10 years. 10 years ago, we had about 4,000 people. Today, we still have about
What is the
4,000.
budget question, please?
Well, the budget question is, the police department, thank you. If the police department is going up over $200,000, that's one increase. Another big increase I'm aware of is, the fire department expects to buy a much larger engine that's in the warrant articles, I believe. And there's a new building being proposed with a lot of garages. It kind of surprises me the amount of additional spending being proposed over the next couple of years is in the millions of dollars. And I'm surprised that, and I'd asked the budget committee, how is it that we expect to be able to afford those kinds of increases in expenses?
A department head comes to a meeting and says, I would like to build a new garage. That doesn't mean that we're planning to build it.
But I
So-
believe that's built into these numbers, is it not?
No, because that would
All
go
right.
into the CIP.
Yeah,
I will tell you that the police officer and the building, maintenance director is built into your budget without you
Yeah.
knowing. Yeah.
yeah, without the public knowing explicitly, that.
Well, one of those is true, one is not. One, the building maintenance person has always been in the budget. Okay, and what we've done is added a part-time position at the transfer station. So the monies were already there for the full-time buildings maintenance person. It's just shifting responsibilities and just the part-time over at the transfer station. So the police officer is a new add, but the other items you were talking about, the fire truck, buying an expensive fire truck, when you look at the CIP, it falls within the annual appropriation, so there's no change. The annual appropriation is in that budget. Buildings, there's no new buildings proposed that are gonna have any expense or financing or anything else going on for the next couple of years. So they're not in that budget at this point, and those would have to be voted on by they would be warrant articles anyway.
I guess just my last thing is, I understand those points. My concern is that our costs are increasing rapidly, our expenses are over the years. They are increasing rapidly, and I will say that the tax burden in this town is extremely, extremely high. Many, many, many people say that. I will voice it. I do work on a CIP committee. Not that I don't think some of these things are a good idea, but how do we afford them all? It's a budget question. How do we think we can afford all these additional things? Each one taken by itself is the right answer. For example, a building maintenance person. I happen to think that's a great idea. I really do. So I'm not arguing against any one of these items because each one taken by itself seems to make sense. However, I'm asking for this overall sense of how can we afford all these additional expenses when we are not increasing our population? We have not brought any big businesses into town. I don't see large additional revenue, so I'm worried about the fact that we already have an extremely high tax burden and it's only going to get worse. And I apologize for extending. I'm done. That's those are my comments.
Claude, this is called the public hearing.
Thank you.
That's right.
And I'm done. My comments, I'm finished. Thank you.
And you're allowed to say whatever it is you'd like to say.
Thank you for listening.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think, I can speak for myself certainly, and as the chair of the committee, is that I believe that, we looked at every issue as diligently and deeply as we could. And, looked wherever we could to figure out how to manage a budget that would be acceptable to provide both the services and other things that the town needs, and measure that against what we could possibly do from a revenue side as well this year, which we had not really done much of. And, we've done the best that we can based on what we need. We certainly have, we certainly have an issue because we all pay taxes. Everyone in the room pays taxes. And we try to keep it as, trim as we can, but we can't run around with roads that are not repaired, with equipment that is not up to the task of providing the services that need to be done. The staffing that needs to keep the assets in good shape. So we do what we can. Claude, as you well know, you're a bright man, and you and I have worked on that CIP committee together, and we've dealt with a lot of these issues. So you're very well versed in what the issues are. As you do know, there is going to be openings on the budget committee coming up next year. There's going to be 3 of them that are going to be voted for, 3-year terms. So if you or someone else that is interested in getting involved, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. Go ahead, Bob.
So Claude, I feel the same way you do about the cost of everything going up, the taxes and everything is going up. And I have a lot of people say something. That's why I joined this. It's the first year I've been on this. What I've learned in talking to everybody else I know in the state and other parts of the country, this is a USA problem. It's not a Canaan problem. I know of one town people have repeatedly told me the taxes didn't go up in. I'm gonna keep that one in my hip pocket. Do you know of any other town whose taxes went down or stayed the same? I'm guessing the answer is no. So it's not, when I started this, it was, I'm gonna vote yes for the must-haves, and I'm going to think about the wants. The must-haves there's a lot of, in my opinion,
Keeps growing.
I'll give you, Danny and I disagree on some of them, that's fine.
Yeah.
But what I think are must-haves, I voted yes on. And then at the end of the day, that's what the number was, and it's a hard number.
Yeah.
But it's an America problem, it's not a Canaan problem, and that's a problem.
So I just want to clarify a couple of things. This is the year 3 of, let's call it the recovery of our finances. Okay, and we said it was going to take at least 3 years to get close. But the goal here is to say that the expenses aren't what's driving all of this increase, okay? We had $558,000 before last year. That was revenue that's not collectible. It was just revenue that were in the budget that didn't exist. And we had to incrementally take those down over a couple of years. This is the final year of that. We're doing the last, and it's actually 3% of the increase is just, we have to eliminate revenue that doesn't exist. So that's where some of this issue comes from. And then you add to that, we weren't funding any capital at all, and all of our equipment, highway equipment, fire equipment is 7 to 8 years beyond its useful life.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I take issue with that. You cannot say we were not funding our equipment.
We were
Maybe
not
we were a
funding,
little below what we should have been.
no, we weren't a
But
little
every year we
below.
funded capital reserves for most of our equipment,
We had just started doing that, but we were still $700,000 underfunded.
underfunded, okay. Yeah, you just didn't, we were not,
Well,
Funding
okay,
our
I
equipment.
consider that,
we were.
when that's 50% of our total valuation of what we're supposed to be funding, I consider that not funding.
And
You know what I'm
adequately,
saying? So,
adequately to the end of the sentence.
Yeah,
Not funding
I mean, it's just-
adequately.
All right.
yeah, it's just like, when you look at those things, so if you take that's $700,000 in capital, plus the $558,000 in the other, and then you say, and then you have increases in the costs of different things where it's, where we just had typical general fund increases.
Right.
That's why you end up with these rates. But what I can say is, because of some emergencies, unfortunate but fortunate emergencies with having to spend capital money to fix things, we've been able to catch up pretty well on capital right now. We're only $180,000 underfunded. All we got to do is put 50 or 60,000 a year away, and we're in a good shape. We no longer have to make up for any lost revenue. So we are already guaranteeing next year to be a 4 or 5% less of an increase. Okay, without any additional positions. We are also, for the first time in several years, completely staffed. Okay, we are at a staffing level, like everybody says, oh, you're adding staff. The only staff that's been added is a half a person at town hall, and now there's a police officer being requested, and the part-time position at the transfer station. Okay, so that's the only adds that have gone through this whole thing. The rest of it has been getting back to pre-COVID staffing levels. Okay, which were always in the budget, were always a function of the town. Okay, and they go back many years ago. Like the building maintenance guy, we actually have proof of the payments to a guy long before Barry got involved. Like we already have found all of those expenses. So these are all functions that we had that were slowly being cut out, just so they didn't have to pay things and they didn't have to raise the budget. So anytime somebody left the town, they just tried to give the responsibility to somebody else. So that's been an issue. So what I call this is I would say for the 2026 budget, I would call it almost ground zero, where we now are staffed the way we're supposed to be. We're funding capital correctly, and we know what it actually is going to cost to run the town. You should see only inflationary changes in the future because, health insurance, all these other things, they go nuts so sometimes. But those should be the only pressures we're dealing with going forward, not trying to make up for where we've had the losses in the budget in the past. So I would say, yes, this has been painful for a couple of years, but I think that level of pain is over. Just we now know where we are at the bottom.
Thank you, Jeff. Go ahead. Bob.
Okay. So, Glenn, the longest presentation we had in the course of this process was by Chief Porter with respect to the police department. And the situation that he described in considerable detail was that the force was pressed and that keeping the officers we have is challenging because other communities are trying to poach them. And he cited the example of Lebanon, which is giving a $40,000 signing bonus for a police officer. And my takeaway, and there was definite discussion about this and not uniformity of opinion within the committee, but on balance, we thought, basically, we're gonna have to do this or something like this in order to retain what we have. And that if we don't do something like this, that we have a chance of going backwards. And, you know, in the good old days when Nan and I first owned our house and young and foolish, so we bought it in the first place, but, you know, the police department was terrible. And it was really obvious that it was terrible. And I feel, as a guy, and I will say, literally yesterday, I was stopped for speeding by an officer of the Camden Police, and it was a appropriate, highly professional, you know, excellent job. And I'm really pleased about that. In the course of the discussion with Chief Porter, he was asked, well, you know, what are the calls that the police make that are, you know, that are important? He said the great majority are deal with domestic violence and or drugs, close correlation.
Yeah.
So there's a public safety issue here that is very important. And what we were able to get away with in earlier years, I at least came away with the opinion that we're gonna need to do this just to maintain the quality of the force that we've got.
Thank you.
And it's tough.
Yeah.
Now, if I can throw in one other little thing, which is out of this. What we get or don't get from the state has a huge impact on what we were able to do at the local level. And it absolutely kills me that the state abolished the tax on interest and dividends.
Me too.
Which the people who have interest, including Nan and me, can well afford to pay.
Agreed.
So that's a part of the overall puzzle we're trying to deal with.
Paul, do you have any other,
No,
You're
you guys
done.
are earlier finished. Thank you, guys. Thank you, and thanks for listening.
Okay. And please.
Yeah, sure.
Could I have a estimated amount of what the addition of the 2 part-time staff and the 1-time full officer will be as a tax increase?
You can email that tomorrow.
Okay.
And
So-
the one part-time staff is not current. That was a year ago.
Alright.
So the only thing that's new for this year is the part-time staff and the police officer, and that's the part-time at the transfer station.
So, my suggestion this whole time has been that, you know, the administration has worked hard and we are getting those shortfalls that, quite frankly, I got my ass handed to me at the Meet the Candidates meeting, because I said that we were moving money around that wasn't there. And Mr. McDermott told me it was a bold statement. I said, it's not bold, it's true. So I know this because I'm one of the ones that friggin' found it. And I understand that we worked hard to get ourselves out of it, but we got another year, right? So if we're at like the last year right here of doing that, why can't we hold off on a couple of the things and try to do a little cost analysis? And it's those addition of the officers is something that is more of a personal thought process than we need another 10-wheeler because we can't sand the roads. So if you take the estimated tax increase from the officer, and one of the meetings that we were at, I was corrected, and it's about 70,000 per 1% increase. And it's about $200,000 the first year and about 111 or so every year after that, before raises in cost of living. So if we take those increases and don't do those this year, that covers the increase we've got to make up for lost stuff. It gives us a year to try to do some cost analysis. So I also, because that's my thing. I feel like we are taxing people out of our community, but not by ill intent. I don't think the budget committee has any ill intent, but I don't think you're looking at some of the people who can't pay their taxes. And when I asked this committee if they were familiar with the goals sheet that Officer Porter gave me, nobody was familiar with it and nobody wanted to look at it.
I'm sorry, Dan, we've covered this ground many times before. Okay, the votes are all in.
I'm not asking for a revote. I am actually trying to answer Claude's question of what I've done as your budget committee representative to address your concerns. So that's what I'm.
That's fine, but we
And-
don't need to do that at this particular meeting. This is not,
I'll get
you
together.
can talk to him,
with
about that privately.
But it's funny to me that nobody wants to see the goal sheets because it is prudent. And there are things on here that were designed by Chief Porter and the select board at the time to fix internal things that were designed through his hiring process to stop losing all the officers.
Dan, we've had this conversation.
No, we didn't, because none of them,
I'm
nobody
sorry,
on this
but
budget
you can
committee
go
looked
back
at
and look
this.
at your videos like you like to do. We have
So
had this
listen.
conversation.
You got a problem with me looking at videos, that's your own problem, because that's a few times you mentioned it tonight.
Let's-
Because I want to review things doesn't mean
Guys,
anything.
Let's dial it back, guys. Let's dial it back. We're all friends here. Let's dial it back.
So
What I would like to
it
do is,
amazes me that none of these elected officials would like to see the documentation that I have that says that we should have fixed things internally in our police department before you make a unilateral decision to raise everybody's taxes in this town without giving the option to vote on it. It's not okay with me, and I will express it at every meeting. That's my right as a taxpaying citizen.
Fair enough.
fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other business?
Just to follow on, Claude said we haven't grown in like 10 years.
Population,
Yeah, right.
my knowledge, to my
The
knowledge, yeah.
thing that has grown is inflation has grown,
Oh, yeah.
and the kinds of houses we're building has grown. And even if you build a basic house, the rules have changed so much that the stuff that goes in it is expensive. So I went back and looked at the valuation of our properties in town, and Carrie Ann can check me where I'm wrong here, but if I go back to 2015, I find $323 million is what was the town value. And now if I advance to last year, because I don't have this year's, if I look at the difference, there's a 44% increase between 2015 and 2024. So that's a huge increase. And because that goes up, everything else goes up.
Just one final thing, when you send that, document to Dan tomorrow, just want to remember, when we went through that conversation at the last meeting, we took $50,000 out of the police side because they won't have hired him for the first 3 months. So we had taken 25% of that cost out. So I just wanted you to remember when we had that conversation.
I did forget. Thank you.
Right.
I move that we adjourn the meeting for that.
Second,
Actually, point of order, we should ask if there is any votes as a result of the public hearing. We had the public hearing.
So, okay,
The procedure is after the public hearing.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's caused us to change our mind? If nobody wants to make a motion, then there's no reason. Just it's appropriate to do that before you adjourn.
okay,
Just ask questions.
very good.
Perhaps it's also appropriate if Nancy and Patty have anything that they want to share at
Well,
this point.
let's see what, if anybody that wants to change any votes that we've taken.
They chat.
Is that the question? John?
That's the question, yeah.
Yeah, is there anybody that wants to make a motion to change anything? The answer would be,
No comment, she said, Nancy, from Nancy.
So you're gonna call a recess, you're not gonna adjourn, right? No.
so we don't need a motion to adjourn, we need a motion to recess until the deliberative session on January 31. I'll get a motion.
I'll make that motion.
What time? 1? Is it 1?
Second.
Yeah.
Yes.
yes.
The notice went out tonight.
Yeah.
With the opening positions. Did you see that?
So we have a motion to recess until January 31st at 1 o'clock at the high school,
Seconded by Mr. Stone.
and seconded by Mr. Stone. Any conversation about that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? He abstains. Thank you. Thank you all. We'll see you on the 31st. Thank you.
Sandy, do you know what time
Thank you.
the